I'm Stachelin, and this is VGA's. He's from here, this place, marked right here on the map. And recently, VGA's challenged me to a carrot war on Hypixel skyblock.
Okay. You just think of going for carrots. Don't you dare go for carrots. Carrots are my crop. Go grow mushrooms or something. Or wheat. Carrots are my crop, VGAs.
When VGA's challenged me, I was very apprehensive about it. And I had a lot of reasons to be. That was a massive undertaking I didn't have the time for. He farms and plays this game significantly more than I do. And frankly, I didn't really care to. I wanted to do other things with my time. But eventually, after laying out some ground rules, I accepted. This is the story of how I, Stachelin, beat VGAce at the Hypixel Carrot War. When he first challenged me, a lot of thoughts went through my head. What was I going to do? How was I going to farm? What were my advantages? What were the disadvantages? I needed to collect intel, and so I did. I started questioning VGAce. What did he have? What did he not have? What did his gear look like? And I ascertained a lot of information.
Oh, you're only at 500k? Oh, jeez. Okay, I've got like... I got like multiples more of that than you. Okay. You probably don't even have like the gear to farm carrots, dude. There is no Pythagorean carrot hoe. What are you talking about? What rarity is your Goss carrot hoe? It's uncommon. Oh, that's it? Oh, wow. Okay.
It was with this information that I began the hard work of farming all the carrots that I needed to. The race was on to 50 million carrots. It was after some time of farming carrots that I pretty much had figured out I was farming a little over 1 million carrots an hour, which sounds like a lot, but at that time I didn't know how many carrots VGAce was farming. I didn't know how many per hour he was able to get. I couldn't calculate that number because I didn't know a lot that I needed to. I only collected a very small amount of intel. At the time I thought that was all I really needed, but I was wrong. It was during this time that I would find out a lot of crucial information simply by talking to him while he was on my island. Throughout the process of this war, so to speak, VGAce visited me a number of times and we would talk. Each time I would gain a little bit more information by poking and prodding to get some answers. It turns out VGAce did not have a very crucial enchantment that he needed, an enchantment called cultivating. Now, what is cultivating? Cultivating is a lot like fortune for crops, but it stacks. And as you farm more of a crop, it gets better and gives you more output. He did not have it. I told him, at this time, I only had cultivating 3. But however, I took a page out of the late, great Minecraft legend Technoblades book and used an advanced technique called lying. For I, actually, had cultivating 8. With my newfound knowledge that VGAce was significantly further behind me in some ways, especially when lacking in the enchants department, it made me very, very confident in myself. Almost too confident. I knew I had the advantage in equipment in a lot of ways. He did have better armor than me and a better pet, but I had a better hoe with better enchants, and I was pretty sure that could carry me through. However, there was an issue with that. It was not long after that VGA started talking about carrot minions. Something I did not have at that time. And that was going to be a problem. So instead of farming, I started investing in minions. And this was a brilliant play on VGAce's part to try and throw me off. Because this is when he really started exploding. And in about a day, he gained 3 million carrots on me because I wasn't farming. And that was dangerous. Very, very dangerous. It was soon after this that we had our second conversation when he would come to my island. And this time, we would talk about minions. And he would tell me that he discovered carrot minions were actually very, very, wasteful of his resources and his time, and that he was only going to focus on farming manually. To which I congratulated him, saying I understand, and it's probably the right idea, because I wanted to throw him off. At this point, I had doubled my carrot minion count for the amount that he had, and is just a little buffer of carrots, just in case he got a little too close for comfort. But I also would have to kick my farming into overdrive if I wanted to win. Before I could do that, however, I needed a little bit of an upgrade. My carrot hoe was only rare at that time, only one level higher than VGAce's, and I knew he was going to probably upgrade his soon, so I had to get ahead of him. I went and upgraded my hoe to an epic level. Then I bought a recombobulator and got it up to legendary for a massive bonus. Not really, but either way, I knew I could get more carrots faster than he could at this point, or at least I was fairly certain. So I kept farming. And during that time, my hoe upgraded to Mythic, a further upgrade to get ahead of VGAce. Now, I kept farming, and now instead of making just a little over $1 million an hour, it's probably closer to 1.1 million an hour, which was more than VGAce. At this point in time, I discovered a little bit of a helpful tool thanks to a friend of mine who plays skyblock far more than I do, and that's the player search function. I used this function greatly to track VGAce. Through this function, I could monitor where he was at any given time, and very, very quickly. I could always just pull up his dossier and see where he was with carrots, see where his pet level was, see what he was wearing for armor, see what boosts he had. And that was very helpful, very powerful in tracking my opponent. At this point, I thought that this race was just going to be a slog to the finish line, and whoever was able to throw more punches before that bell rang was going to come out ahead. I was wrong. Severely so. It was soon after this that VGAce would freeze in his carrot production, confusing me and lulling me into a false sense of security. A brilliant move. Because of his freezing, I slowed down, thinking, okay, I could take a little bit of a break. Because at this point, my mental was pretty bad. I had done several streams, multiple hours longer than I would normally stream for, simply farming carrots. And my mental health, my mental status, tenacity, it was gone. It was down in the dumps, and I was not performing well. So I thought, if he's pausing, I can too. This time, again, he would surge ahead and get another massive leap on me, taking another 3 million carrots off of the distance between us. I saw this and I started to get really worried. I started farming nearly manically again. I did not realize, however, that he wouldn't farm any more carrots. At this point in time, he froze completely and did not keep farming carrots. It was at this point that every day I would just try and farm a little bit more. Like earlier, my mental health still wasn't doing very well, and I was not able to farm repeatedly, just grinding as much as I was able to when I first started. I really burned myself out pretty bad with my first few forays into the carrot war, my first few offensives. So I also had slowed down a little bit, just trying to make steady progress every day and maintain a lead in carrots, which I was able to do pretty successfully. And it was not until several days later that I found out why this was the way it was. VGAce would come onto my island for the fourth and final conversation that we would have during this war. And he would concede during this conversation he was not willing to farm carrots any longer and surrendered to me, stating that he was frankly tired and didn't want to keep going on, and he conceded that he had lost. As part of this, he gave me a gift of everything I needed aside from a few small items to make a carrot 12 minion, which I graciously accepted. However, in the darkness, there was a shadow. A shadow that I was unable to see because of the light of celebration and victory. In the darkness, VGAce had been attacking not only myself, but another dear friend of mine, the one who taught me how to farm on Hypixel skyblock. He was farming potatoes too, not just carrots. For you see, VGAce was always a potato farmer at his heart. He never truly cared that much about farming carrots. And this entire operation was a ruse that I did not find out until the end. This entire time, VGAce had been distracting me and my mentor from the fact that he was trying to beat my mentor in a potato war. We thought, after the first time this was attempted, VGAce would never try this again. But how wrong we were. VGAce had used this entire setup simply to distract us. And that is the unfortunate end of the carrot war. Thank you guys so much for watching. Consider leaving a like, dropping a sub. I'm Stachelin. You know where to find me. And no two intros or outros will ever be the same. Bye, guys.